Ilja Ormel from Canada speaks to us about some of the key tensions that have emerged in doing co-creation work within the context of a humanitarian crisis. Two key tensions were discussed. First, the tension between the need to take time to build trust and the speed required in an emergency situation for implementation, and trying to find the threshold where processes are fast enough that they are implemented when needed, but at a speed where people can organically grow their trust. A second set of tensions arises between the people of Haiti themselves and the organizations from the international community trying to help out in this humanitarian crisis.
And there were also two very strong sides, perspectives from the participants' perspectives and the staff as well. So one part of the staff and the participants were saying, it's the fault of the population. They get COVID because they're negligent. They don't listen to our messages. If they would listen, they will be free of cholera. And then the other side, people were saying, no, it's a wrong hygiene promotion strategy. It's not delivered well, and that's why people do not change their behavior, because we're not looking at their context, we're not understanding their way of living, their reality. So that needs to change. So there we have facilitated a discussion with the staff. We put people into groups and looked at, what kind of solutions, how can we resolve this issue? And ultimately, we also decided it was important to have a behavior change training. And that's where myself, I was conflicted with regards to the co-design, because this was decided on a higher level, not in collaboration with the participants and the staff. So is that still, when we discussed it with other people, they felt, no, it came out of the process of the co-design, so it was fine that the training was provided. And another point I wanted to bring up is how people look at participation, because experience-based co-design has a certain conception of participation, but it doesn't mean that the participation in the country where we worked in Haiti is the same. And of course, in the history, there were participatory approaches as well. Solidarity was a point that came up all the time, and people work in combits. So they work on one land from one person, and then the next day the whole group moves to another land from another person to help each other. So there was one doctor bringing up, it's here indeed, that he questioned the whole participatory process. First of all, he criticized NGOs doing that mostly when they leave, and that is true. And also that he felt that it was a whole wrong mechanism, that NGOs shouldn't even be involved if you do a participatory process. So I'm bringing up these issues because also in other settings where I worked as a health promoter in Congo in the Ebola outbreak, for example, is my question about co-design and how do we respond to the bigger needs of people that we cannot resolve because they're the governmental responsibility, or they're just too big, or it's not the organization's focus. And then, of course, there's the larger discussion about the power issues and whether NGOs should even be present in countries if they cause more harm than good, etc. So some of the things I learned from this process was that in itself, to implement such a co-design process is really important, because I did feel that the staff had the chance to express their opinions, and we brought up, like we do here, sensitive issues that cannot always be said. And especially when you are dependent on your work, it's not easy to bring up these things. And I think also in humanitarian settings, and that's where I also want to bring this up, is it has to be faster. It took too long. This has to be done in like 1 month or 3 months maximum, and people, you have to move on. So how can you build trust and at the same time set up participatory approaches that go fast? So that's an important aspect as well.